All right, there we are, guys. Welcome to this Tuesday nighter here at Fish North Georgia. We are so glad you guys could join us tonight. Kind of our Halloween edition. Look at that old crooked head I got going on right there. But anyway, we're glad you guys could join us. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Click that notification bell for all of our content that's coming out. So, got a great show for you tonight. We're going to be talking fall fishing, fall bass fishing, the baits that work in the fall. We also are going to do a drawing tonight for the Armed Forces Fishing League for the Toys for Tots tournament. Now, again, we've talked about the Toys for Tots tournament here lately. We're going to be continuing to talk about it up into the tournament. That is going to be December 7th at Laurel Park. Again, supporting the Hall County Toys for Tots. So it's $80 entry fee, $5,000 guaranteed first place prize. You can sign up at Buford Dam Bait and Tackle, or you can sign up here at Fish North Georgia. And again, the earlier you sign up, the earlier you get blasted off. So the Armed Forces League, Fishing League has been generous, and they actually bought a spot. And so tonight at some point, we're going to be reaching into the cup, pulling out some names, a name, and they get the fish for free courtesy of the AFFL. So we appreciate those guys doing that. Hey, listen, it's going to be a great event. And we're hoping to really pack the boats in and raise toys for those kids so they have a great Christmas. So let's scan around the room and see if you can guess who everybody is. Well, let's start off with Alex back there. This guy, look at, does that not look like? And guys, he is not the mullet angler. You guys, you know him right there. So you look good. I think that is probably the most natural looking one. You really do. Like
it
the
blends
wolf.
to the beard good.
He looks like the damn wolf man back there, don't he? All right, so there you go. And then to my left, you guys can guess this one. I'm sure pretty easy there. I mean, this. Can you talk there, Darth?
No.
So look at that ball head. Who knew that Darth Vader was bald headed? But there you go. So we got Dave Aldridge, and of course Alex Purr's the first one, and then of course to my right there, this sweet looking thing.
How you
right
doing,
there.
ladies and gentlemen?
That's right. So we're gonna, you guess what he is. We'll just go from that. And then of course mine's a little generic, but you might, if you pay attention to what's going on around me, then you might be able to figure out who I am. Okay. I mean, it's kind of in the picture there a little bit. So what's up, guys? Lipstick or fishing? Everybody, Joe Dirt. They all said Joe Dirt. So they nailed you.
Yes, sir.
They nailed you. Fast Times at Ridgemont High. One of my favorite movies of all times. You ever seen that movie?
No, I haven't.
That's before your time.
A little bit.
Spagoli? You don't know who Spagoli is?
Pepperoni.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, like, and you've seen the video. What's the name of the chick that gets out of the pool?
Oh God, I don't
you know what I'm talking about. You've seen
somebody will know her name.
Chloe. She comes out of the pool.
Talking about Little Rascals?
No.
I was thinking of the lifeguard.
No. Somebody, guys, if you've seen Fast Times at Ridgemont High, what's the name of that girl that comes out of the pool and she undoes her top? Like every guy my age that was 13 or 14 years old knows that it's ingrained.
Like I got some homework.
Danny, that don't look like Beetlejuice. I couldn't pull off Beetlejuice. Actually, I was going to do someone else. I'll save that for next year. I had to throw this together really, really quick. So anyway, guys, look, you guys keep the comments coming up, but I like that. I did a Bush Beer commercial. Exactly. So if you got any contacts with Bush Beer, hey, we could use that sponsorship right there. So yeah, I'm the Bush Beer guy. I figured if I threw on some flannel and put enough Bush Beer around me, you guys would figure it out. Yep, he's the Bush head for the mountains and all that. So we're going to talk fall bass fishing. And you okay there with that, Darth? You're breathing kind of deep right there. So I will say this. So I fished Allatoona this weekend. We'll talk about that. You fished Phoebe Cates. I knew somebody would get it. Gone fishing with
Phoebe?
Diaz. Buddy,
Phoebe.
thank you. Phoebe. I said Phoebe. Phoebe Cates, whatever. Nobody remembers. Phoebe. Nobody remembers your name, but there's a lot they do remember. So you fished somewhere in North Carolina?
Yeah, I fished on Glenville.
Glenville up North Carolina. Darth, did you fish anywhere?
Gunnersville.
Alex, did you fish anywhere?
I was on Lanier.
You was on Lanier. So, and the high school guys were on Lanier. So a lot of things to talk about. And, I want you guys in the comment section too, definitely to put out your recommendations on your favorite fall baits, whether they work or not right now, given that there's a lot of turnover going on in the water, that's to be determined. I can tell you for you Allatoona guys, We fished out of Stamp Creek in a 2-day, Saturday and Sunday, 2 totally different days. Saturday, I actually got sunburned. I pulled my shirt off and fished most of the day without a shirt on. And then that was Saturday. And Sunday, I had a sweatshirt on and was freezing my butt off. So 2 totally different days. But the went in with the basics, thinking spinner bait, thinking jerk bait, jig. I'm just going to tell you right now, we caught every fish, just about every fish on a shaky head. And I mean slow. We had to drag that thing really, really slow. And then it kind of got me thinking what Jonathan Farmer said the other night when Luke Turner in the comments asked the question about when it turns over, he was seeing all the fish on the bottom. I can tell you for us, every fish we caught was, dead on the bottom. I think in some communities, you'd be considered a bear. Yeah, for sure, 100%. But how about, let's go Gunnersville. I got the hiccups now. Take that thing off unless you want to talk through it.
I don't care.
Well, let's talk Gunnersville.
Okay.
Why get rid of these hiccups all of a sudden?
Okay. So yeah, Gunnersville. I fished out there 3 or 4 hours on Sunday. Most everything I caught actually on an A-rig with 3-inch swim baits, pretty much on those. That's just kind of where I started, and they were biting decent, so I just kind of stayed with it, just kind of looking around trying to find some fish.
Okay. Is the A-rig normal in the fall on Gunnersville?
Yeah, it pretty much. I mean, it starts now and it'll go through probably March or April. I saw one of the guys post up there. That was his top catcher for the week too.
Okay. All right. Where did you say you fished?
I was on Glenville up in western North Carolina.
All right. And what were you throwing?
So it's a high elevation lake. So that water was pretty cold. So it was like 58 degrees. So I was on Saturday throwing a jig a lot. And then Sunday they wouldn't touch a jig and caught them on a spinnerbait.
On a spinnerbait.
Yep.
Okay. And to go ahead, did you use the force? That was a question. Tracy Coker wants to know if you used the force.
Of course I did.
Of course you did. We'll get more into that as a fishing technique here in a little while. All right, Joe Dirt. Lanier, what were you catching them on?
I was catching most of my fish on a riser.
Top water.
Yeah, I was chasing schoolers.
In a kayak.
Mm-hmm.
How does one chase schoolers in a kayak?
When you see them, you just kind of run over there and cast to them.
I mean, do you have a motor or you paddle?
Yeah, I got a motor.
Okay, so you're cheating. So you're really a boat.
So you're cheating.
Yeah, seriously, if you put a boat on a kayak, I mean a motor on a kayak, it becomes a boat. So, they can hear Darth good. So you're good. All right. So we just wanted to make sure with that. So it seems like, okay, we all fished 4 different ways this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Now, was the fishing good for you once you switched over to spinnerbait?
It was pretty spread out on Sunday, but they got knocked in the head with the cold front pretty hard.
That cold front did come through.
Yeah.
All right. And you fished what day?
Sunday.
Sunday on Gunnersville?
Yeah.
And how was it numbers wise for you?
I caught probably 15, I guess.
Okay.
Biggest one about 4 pounds.
About 4 pounds. All right. And there, all right, Joe, numbers for you.
I was out there for just a little bit on Saturday, and I didn't catch anything. But on Sunday, I caught 5 or 6, and it was all top water except for one.
All top water except for one. So if any of you guys in the comment section fished this past weekend, kind of tell us what you guys were seeing. What would you say, Clint? I guess I can call you Clint and not Billy Ray.
Billy Ray Cletus.
Well, Billy Ray. What do you normally, when you think fall fishing, the baits that come to mind to you?
I'm thinking of like moving fast, cranking, throwing a spinnerbait, throwing a jerkbait, throwing a top water, slow jerking a walking bait off the top, something like that. Like that's typically what I think of when I think of fall fishing, but you kind of got to adjust to what the fish are doing. I mean, you got to show up and see what the conditions are. I mean, I pulled up, it was dead calm, bluebird, and I realized like, okay, these fish, let's see what they do. In the first place I pulled up to, I tried a little bit of top water, tried a little bit of cranking, nothing was happening. Pull up to a laydown, and I was about to throw like a spinnerbait down the laydown, and then I was like, it's pretty slick. Like, let me just swim this jig down the laydown. So I swam this jig down. I saw two fish on live scope come out after the jig, so I dropped it down, let it just pendulum off the tip of the tree and then cracked a 2.5 pounder on like within the first 10 minutes of the tournament. And I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm fishing wood. And then was able to replicate that pattern all over the lake the whole day. And I mean, it was a really tough day. All the fish we were catching were oddly small for that place. But I mean, I had 3 fish that were a 113 that day. So, yeah. I mean, it was a tough culling day, but I mean, I still caught like 15, 16 fish, which was a lot for that place. Typically you'll get 5 or 6 bites a day and catch between 15 and 18 pounds. But
okay, that makes sense. So Philip Hunt says Sunday on Lanier was a jig bite. I actually thought in the next comments, Thomas Epps, I actually fished against him both days. And he said spinnerbait and shaky had worked for us on tuna. And I threw a spinnerbait, Thomas. I couldn't get bit on it. It's probably where I was throwing it. But shaky head for sure. What was weird about our bite, we did catch some near wood, like what you were saying. Mm-hmm. But as the day progressed, both days, that bite on wood for us kind of stopped. We were kind of stuck in the Stamp Creek area. It was really literally throwing parallel to the bank, probably 15 to 20 feet. And when I say slow, I can't. Bill Payne fishes 100 miles an hour compared to how slow we were fishing the other day. So it was totally not what I expected, because all you guys, and guys, I listen to everybody, all on rock. Yeah, I mean that's kind of where we ended up going. But I listened to all you guys, and a lot of you guys mentioned the spinnerbait, so I had a spinnerbait. I did throw a crankbait, some didn't get a bite. I think for me, when I think fall fishing, shaky head's always number one. Of course, that's year round, but I think the shaky head is just that confidence bait you can go to. But I tried a jig. I tried to slow roll a jig, and I don't know anybody that fished with us anyway got on a decent jig bite. So what about you? What are the baits you consider fall baits, your standard fall baits that you like to concentrate on?
My 4 are probably spinnerbait, especially on the herring lake. Spinnerbait, crankbait starts kind of playing.
Sorry, I had to do that.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Shaky head.
Get that out. There you go.
And a jig. It's those 4. That's where I'm gonna start. Now I will throw a top water or a fluke if I can get them to come up, but it really depends on where they're sitting and kind of what mood they're in.
And I guess it's also lake dependent too.
Right.
Because I would imagine that your Gunnersville baits are not the same.
No.
Tony, what's up, dog? Jerkbait for me. Saw fish glued to the bottom and in ditches, but a certain guy warned me about a false ditch pattern, and I might know who that certain guy might be. That ditch pattern wasn't on for us for sure. Does Gunnersville have ditches like Lanier?
They got, I guess we call them more drains.
More of a drain than a pure ditch. It's
usually just a deeper spot. And like I said, most of the time it has grass around the edges. Sometimes it'll have grass up in it.
Yeah.
Some of the places we fished when we were over there, like I said, that's some of my good drains that we fish. But instead of fishing the outside edge in the wintertime, I'll go right down the middle. Gotcha.
Sam says a jerk bait up there. Jonah, what's up, kid? Lost a fish and my jig on Allatoona today. Had some followers on a paddle tail. Tom, happy Halloween to you. Good fishing wishes. Back at you, dog. And let's see, Lipsticker. We'll be doing some cranking this week. And he was live yesterday on Facebook doing some cranking. And I tried to crankbait. I threw the rock crawler on all them rocks over at Allatoona, and it just didn't produce. I imagine that's going to change here real soon. Alex, what about you? The baits that you think of when it comes to fall fishing?
Jerkbait, top water walking bait, crankbait, shaky head.
So we're all kind of, other than occasional spinnerbait in there, we're all about the same.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's the standard. What did Tony say? Oh, yeah. So Lipsticker, Tracy Coker, pull him up right there. Right there. I saw a ton of fish in a 60-foot trench that wouldn't touch anything on Saturday. Now, one thing we have to consider on all these lakes is the turnover. Mm-hmm. I mean, the turnover is going on. I did have a gentleman hit me up. Let's see, today's Tuesday. So yesterday at the shop said the north end of Lanier is about done. I can't confirm that, But he said the north end he could see 10 foot deep up there. So I think it's flipped and maybe it's moved mid lake. I don't know. I haven't been on Lanier. Allatoona is a little tougher because hell, it's down so much.
Well, I mean, it's been doing jump ropes for the past month. Really, it's been up, down, up, down, up.
Yeah,
down.
and I did hear one of our competitors that got to fish on Sunday say, seems like this lake dropped a foot overnight. Now I don't know that to be true, but it was down a lot. Let's talk to old Randy up there. Chattooga on Saturday, a couple of 3-pounders and a 4-pounder on an X80 jerkbait and Mr. X Griffin. Did I say that right? Griffon?
I ain't never heard of a Mr. X Griffin.
What is a Mr. X Griffin? Caught 12 from 1 p.m. to 1:30 on a fluke and a riser. I threw the hell out of a fluke too. I figured it would work. I will say this: we got out of the Stamp Creek area and got over towards the marker poles over by Gatewood. For those of you that fish Allatoona, you know that area. We did for about 10 to 20 minutes see some topwater action, but it always seemed like they were on the other side, and we tried to chase them. We just could not catch them. Shop Life has a question. Favorite fall spotted bass lure? No bluebacks in this lake, and they got tiny shad. So let's start with you, Clint. And I guess let's kind of pick our bait depending upon what he's saying. It's not
so
a
no
blueback,
bluebacks, but you got tiny shad. I don't have one with me. I might have one.
So
probably not.
While he's looking, Lipsticker said thermocline is still around 50 at Laurel Park. It's not done yet. So this was, he told me the area, and I don't remember. But he did tell me where it was at, and I can't remember off the top of my head. Shop Life, my home lake is exactly like that, and I catch them on a jerk bait. So what were you thinking about in that situation?
I was thinking of some type of spoon or like a jig and wrap. Like I've been pulling a lot of fish to the boat lately. Like they're not quite fired up enough on a jerk bait. It's like waiting to get to that point and then been able to drop an ice jig down and be able to catch them that way. So like a tiny little ice jig or like whatever that Berkeley came out with, it's kind of similar to a jig and wrap. It's like a finisher. Mm-hmm. That came out with the Credge. Like that's another good one that works super deep.
So you're going vertical.
It's basically just picking up those extra fish. Like if you pull a school and they're under the boat, you normally give up on them. I don't. I like to drop down and see if and it'll be one for every 5 schools. I'll get one to bite, but sometimes it's a good
you
one.
Can do that.
Yeah.
All right. What about you? Because again, you fish Gunnersville a lot. You do fish Lanier and all these lakes up here in Allatoona, but they have bluebacks. Gunnersville does not. But now it has big bait and gizzards and all that in it. So if you were in a lake that was only threadfin, what's your favorite fall bait?
Probably I start with a 1/4 ounce buzzbait.
1/4 ounce buzzbait. You're going topwater first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm gonna downsize my trailer to just a straight twin tail, no skirt, just a buzzbait with a twin tail on it.
A buzzbait with a twin tail. So like where guys would normally take a frog, you're just gonna put a twin tail.
Just a twin tail.
So he's gonna show it.
This is
see if that up close camera works on him. I didn't even set that one up. All right.
I'm glad I don't have to do
go
that.
to your left. Oh shit, that's my hand.
That's your
go to your right.
Go to your right. Right.
Little
right,
more. Right.
More,
Right. There we go. We're close.
Close enough.
And then when you hold it up, hold it more to the right. There you go. Okay, so you just got to push it up on the head right there. So that's what you're going to go with.
Yeah, but this is a 3/8. I'd have a 1/4.
You'd have a 1/4. Okay, very interesting. What makes you put that bait on there instead of a skirt, or why?
I don't ever throw one with a skirt on there.
Never ever.
Never ever.
It's either a buzz, like a horny toad style bait, or that.
I throw a swim bait.
Yeah.
Or I throw a Z-Crawl Junior. I'll throw this.
Okay. All right, I got you. That's what you're gonna start off with. Okay, hey, everybody does it. Let's see real quick. Steve Pinkston, a number 5 or number 7 shad wrap can be hard to beat. Absolutely. Clint, he had to downsize to a smaller jerk bait. And then pull up there, Kayak Fishing with Ralph. Well, Ralph, hello. Great show. Hello from California. Well, buddy, I tell you what, we appreciate you joining us, and thank you for the compliment. And I love one of the cool things about this is when we get somebody from out of state in the comment section. So all the way in California. That's pretty daggone neat. What
pretty
time is it
cool.
out in California? About 3 in the afternoon, somewhere in there?
It's
About
5:30,
5.
brother. It's only 3 hours behind us.
Really?
Yep.
Well, shit, I don't ever get out there. I don't know. Alex, you got a lake, small bait fish. What are you throwing to start off with?
I'm gonna start out with like the finesse spot choker with the little the trickster baby, like baby shad, the little
Mhm.
flukes, or I'll do like a helo head or a prop head and
Okay.
see if they'll take one of those.
Editor's note: you ever see me putting in a dip? You got to keep talking. I'm done. So for those of you that don't know, a spot choker is an underspin. So he's throwing an underspin.
Mm-hmm.
So we got an underspin, we got a buzz bait, and you
I had
you
an
put out
ice
a damn
jig.
ice jig.
Yes, I might be talking about December fishing, but
Well, still,
I've been catching them on it this weekend. So.
yeah. Hey, look, it makes sense. Berkeley stunning 100, but if you slow it down too much, they peeled off really quick. So
it still ain't as good as an old 110. Son.
is that the Mega Bass?
That's a 110 junior side. That was the original Berkeley Stunner until they got the blueprints. You know what I'm saying?
Is that what it is? You know what I'm saying? Well, it's funny because I think Shaky head. Now that might just be because it's a confidence bait, but I think Shaky head. So everybody fishes different, and you can tell, guys, if you're paying attention, definitely 4 different train of thoughts right here. Wacky worm on laydowns works good on on Center Hill in the fall, even with the water drawdown. Let me back up. I did catch a few fish on a weightless wacky throwed, and when I say in the brush pile, I mean I went through probably 10 wacky hooks because I put a small one on. It's exposed right in there, but I did catch a couple. But it was Alatoona. There was no size to them. Adam W. Fishing. All right, for you jerkbait guys, what depth of water are y'all catching them on with a jerkbait right now?
27.
Huh?
I'm just kidding.
You say 27?
Yeah.
You're lying.
No,
So-
I mean between your standard 8 to 12, somewhere in there.
8 to 12?
Yeah.
All right. And who else said they throw a jerkbait? You? All
Yeah.
right. So what depth are you catching your fish on a jerkbait?
Under 15 feet.
Is there a jerkbait other than the Credge that goes below 15 feet?
I ain't got a jerkbait. That's
I
an
like to
upside
throw
down.
the Rapala Shadow Wrap Deep.
Yeah.
It goes it's like a 7 foot probably.
Okay.
I like to throw Mega Bass +2 shallow, like cranking shallow, bouncing it off the rocks.
Bouncing it off the
wood.
rocks.
Like
Yeah.
that's how I like to fish a deep jerkbait.
Gotcha.
Shallow.
Okay. So there. I hope that answered your question right there. Tony says I'm cheap, but yes, the Mega Bass is the gold standard, and it is. Hey, listen, they ain't cheap. I'll give you that. Silver Punk. Appreciate you guys' questions. Hey, guys, throw them out there. Let's talk tonight. On a fall day with a bluebird sky and no wind, what would your plan be for the day? Which was basically Saturday on Lake Alatoona.
Yeah, that was Saturday for all of us, I feel like.
And I'll tell you, the plan was I was told spinner baits, tried that. Crankbait, tried that. This is all early for the sun got up, tried that. Fluke, we tried everything, and eventually tried a jig, just went back to a shaky head. That was for me. What was your plan going in to that day, though?
My plan was just run around offshore, probably throw a minnow. It was kind of the goal at the time, and then I ended up realizing, like, this is where I learned how to fish shallow. Let me go fish shallow.
Yeah.
And I tried to force a glide bait bite later in the day, and that didn't end up panning out.
I think a lot of people, at least in our club, fish shallow. We got some scopers out there, and and if Thomas is watching, I know he loves the scope. I don't have a scope on mine. Nothing against scopers.
Iron sights
Trust
over
me,
here.
I was
ain't even got a
old iron.
scope.
I had a 360, and then I used my 2D.
I like it.
But I used the 360 on Alatoona, saying, okay, I'm gonna find rock. Well, damn, the whole bottom's nothing but rock. So it was like the whole day was like rock. So I just do it all of them. But I did have to end up just going to shaky head slow. Now, what about you? Same thing. And I want you to talk Gunnersville since you fish there so much. Bluebird sky, no wind. What's your plan for, like, let's just say if you're going to go Saturday and it's going to be lower 70s, mid 70s with those conditions?
I'll start like shallow with a buzz bait or a frog or something like that. But if it gets really slick, really tough, I'm gonna throw my wacky worm.
Yeah,
Mine.
your
Right
Nico.
here.
Your Nico.
Yep.
I don't even consider that.
Is it like a
wacky worm.
red lightsaber or what?
His wacky worm?
Yeah,
It works. When it works, it feels like a red lightsaber.
I like it.
So he says wacky. Technically,
It's wacky.
it is
Yeah.
wacky. It is wacky.
Is it a bent worm?
It's a bent worm. It's a bent worm, but it ain't a Cinco. He ain't throwing a Cinco on it. Right,
When
correct.
he shakes his head.
Wait a second. You ain't tell you threw a Cinco?
No, I didn't throw a Cinco.
Oh,
No,
you don't
it's
throw a
trick
Cinco.
worm.
Yeah,
It's
you
trick
throw
worm,
a trick worm.
But I threaded it up there and I Texas rig it on a VMC finesse Nico hook.
Yeah, have you ever seen them Vanessa VMCs?
That's the only one I throw, really.
That
one and
he
the
turned me on
BKK.
to that. For those of you guys that want to ever throw a bent worm, Nico, however you want to say it, VMC makes a hell of a hook.
It's a great shape. It's a great hook, but I have lost some fish on some VMCs, though. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah,
VMC, especially their trebles.
Same.
I don't
Big
understand
same.
why,
But
but
I throw this one. I throw a 2-aught most of the time. And
I love their hook, like with the little bit of mono on there, like the little weed guard. Like I love the style of hook, but I've been playing around with the BKKs and I haven't lost any on those. But I mean, I've used the VMCs for like 6 years, so it's like caught a bunch of
the
fish.
biggest thing with mine, and I was talking to Danny about it. When I started throwing it, I started throwing on a medium action rod.
Mm-hmm.
You will lose 30%.
Yeah,
Put it
you
on
got to
medium
throw it
heavy,
light.
and then
You gotta have.
Oh, you're throwing
backbone.
heavier.
Yeah,
I've been throwing it on a lighter rod.
no, go heavier because way I rig it, the hook point is just barely buried in the worm.
Uh-huh.
You need enough, and that medium heavy will pop that hook point out.
See, mine's
got
always raw and just hanging out.
Can you imagine the TikToks I'm gonna have though with with Darth over there sitting there? You go, you just pop that thing out right there.
And then I just said it's raw and hanging out.
It's raw and hanging out. So, did I say DT6? I don't know, Lipstick, or did you? Tracy Coker's. Here's his choices of fall baits: buzz bait, crankbait, jig, and shaky head. And I just think in the South that works everywhere. Let's see. Randy says his jerkbait 5 to 20 feet. And then Thomas, again, like I said, he fished against us. The ones we scoped were all small. Well, hell, Thomas, they was all small everywhere on Alatoona the other day. Silver Punk. We're just going to throw them out there, boys. Going to work your fingers tonight, Alex.
Let's do it.
Let's do it in a good way. I agree. The VMC weedless Nico hook is great. And I'll be honest that Dave actually turned me on to that. And absolutely, I love it. Clarence Stowers, on certain days, a free rig is beating a shaky head on Lanier. Now, have any of you guys fished the free rig? And you know what he's talking about? You know what he's talking about with the free rig? Have you fished it any at all?
I've tried it so many times. I've caught one fish on it in the past 2 years of trying it.
The free rig. Now, your free rig, what size weight do you put? For those that don't know a free
I
rig.
was throwing like an 8 up to like a 3/8.
Yeah.
And I was throwing a worm, I was throwing this, and then I'd go throw a shaky head and I'd catch 5. And I was like, well, what am I
Yeah.
same worm, same everything, just different ball.
Yeah. So it's basically, and I mean, guys I know use drop shot weights for it, but they just run the line through that. So it's basically a free swinging Carolina rig kind of.
It's a Texas rig with a drop shot weight.
Yeah, really. That makes sense. Now, what worm were you throwing on the end of it? Whose mic is off? Tracy Coker said mic is off. So I don't know whose mic is off. I don't know. Is there a mic off? Is anybody not hearing one of our guys while they're
let
talking?
Clint talk. Let
Check,
only
check.
Clint talk real quick.
Check, mic check, Billy Ray.
I mean, it's jumping.
Okay, it's dropping. So maybe we'll see. The top shaky head baits is a question. Maybe. Clint's mic is out. I don't know if you unplugged. Did you turn it off on the thing up there? I don't think that you can turn it off. Mic is off on the left, so that is you. So let's just run down wires. There you go. How about that now?
Check, mic check.
You unplugged the damn thing, didn't you?
How the hell? That was way over here.
Yeah, you're playing with it. So you're there running your fingers on it,
All right.
caressing that mic, and it Didn't like that. Go back up. Go back up. There was a couple more questions. Keep on going up. Keep on going up. Right there. Stop. All right. So, Carson Fowler, yum, absolutely, baby. Alex Haynes, what stage of the turnover is Lanier at? And I think that's up for debate because I had a gentleman tell me that it was done on the northern part, but Lipsticker Fishing said it was still going on over at Laurel, and you can't get much farther north than Laurel.
Turning over like a panini press.
It seems like it just depends on where you're at.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I was out with Kevin, not this last Sunday, but the Sunday before. And every place we were at, it seemed like it was in a different stage of the turnover.
Okay, well, that makes sense on such a big lake right there. We were talking about the free rig. It's a Texas rig with a drop shot weight on the front, and that weight is not tied down or anything. So it's different. And now I guess the question that I asked you when I said your mic was off was, what were you throwing on your free rig? What kind of worm?
I was throwing old Senko on there.
Just old Senko?
Yeah.
All right, so there you go. All right, let's see where we at now. Let's see if we can catch up now that our technical difficulties are over. Tony's been wanting to try it, but he hasn't yet. And then Sam says, top shaky head baits. I'll tell you what I caught mine on the other day. The Berkeley Max Scent Hitworm, the big one, not the little one, the 7-inch, whatever.
7-inch.
What's their big worm? It's the Max.
That's a big worm for sure.
Yeah, it was big. And then I dipped the tail. I didn't dip it in JJ's because I left my JJ's here. I actually pulled out a little zoom pin, and I colored basically a knuckle.
Zoom makes a pin?
Zoom has a pin, a chartreuse pin.
How did I not know that?
Yeah, and it's actually a lot neater and doesn't. Now there's no scent to it, but I tell you what, it definitely glows. I can tell you that. It's just like a chartreuse marker. That's what I caught mine on. So what's your Dave? What's your top shaky head bait? I love the Max Scent line.
Zoom trick worm.
Zoom trick worm, and that color is, I can't tell in the glasses.
Green pumpkin magic.
Green pumpkin magic. All right. What about you, Clint? Favorite shaky head bait?
I like a green pumpkin black flake Senko. That's it.
My cousin throws a Cinco on his shaky heads, and we always have that discussion. He loves it.
Yeah.
I have never had that much success throwing
It's
it.
all about the fall, son.
All about the fall. All right. Well, what weight hook are you using when you
8
throw?
ounce.
An 8. So you go light.
Yep.
You go light. Okay. And now let me ask you, what weight do you use?
I throw a 3/16, but my worm weighs less than his worm.
Mm-hmm.
True. So probably get the same fall rate.
Very
Pretty
similar.
close. All right, Alex. Joe Dirt back there in the corner.
5-inch Senko, black with blue flake.
Black and blue flake.
He's
Yes,
up in
sir.
the dirt, son, because he's Joe Dirt.
With 3/16.
He's a damn kayaker. So that's why that is. All right, let's
Or a
throw.
fluke.
Huh?
Or a fluke.
Or fluke. Oh, a fluke on a shaky head. You're one
Yeah.
of those.
Yeah.
I know a lot of guys that do
I've
that.
done that bed fishing. That's about it, though.
Bed fishing.
Yeah, with a fluke. on
Yeah,
the
I've never. Now I will say that when Paul Driscoll was on here and we were talking about bent worms and all that, he likes to throw the fluke stick. But I've actually put a fluke stick on a shaky head and had pretty good success with it too. He was throwing it on the Nico. Really, it depends. Everybody's got their own favorite worm. I don't think any of us has really said the same thing at all.
That's the
tonight.
beauty of fall fishing, though, is you can junk fish your butt off.
Mhm.
And that's what's going to make it interesting with the EQs next year being all in the fall. Like, it's going to be a junk fishing fest, and then they're going to get to the elites, and it's going to be wild.
Yeah, I
It'll be
agree with you.
interesting.
And some
That's
of that too, I think, depends on what shaky head you throw.
Yeah.
Like I only throw pretty much one shaky head with a worm on
What is that? What brand?
it. Spot sticker,
You like the spot stickers?
the regular little spot sticker, but it does not have a screw lock. I don't
No.
throw a shaky head with a worm with a screw lock.
So I used to be big on the screw lock. All through college, I was big on the screw lock. All through, like a couple years after college, I was big on the screw lock. Always threw a 1/4 ounce shaky head, heavy shaky head. And then I moved down here, and I was like, light, no screw lock. It's all about the fall, and you want that spiral. And I was like, okay, I never thought I'd throw a shaky head like this, but this is way better. And then I took it back to the mountains where I was fishing before in college with my 1/4 ounce shaky head and started catching twice as many fish. And I was like,
That
That's
was
the
me.
deal.
I moved here, and everybody's like, "Oh, you throw this one with the screw lock on it," and I
Mhm.
couldn't get bit on.
Yep.
and I'm throwing it in the same places I throw it now. I watched a video with Wiggins. He's like, do this. And then my bite just went through the
And
roof.
let me just say, that's the shaky head master.
He is
So,
the guy.
like, I remember watching him on
copied his
Chattooga
whole
in 2018.
Yeah, I copied his whole setup, everything to a T. The only difference is this one's got a 90-degree line tie. He uses a 60 because he pours his own.
Yep.
I got
That's the
you.
only difference.
Kirk Black, hell, I hope I say this right. Blackadar? Blackadar?
Yeah.
Good Lord, I'm getting bald. A free rig is one you stole from your buddy. Absolutely true. Hey, there, Ken back in the background. Throw me my hat. My Fish North Georgia. Not that one. I got to send that to somebody. That one right there. Yeah, you go. See if
Is
you
the
can
bush beanie
Oh,
too
shit.
high?
No, I can't throw that neither. I'll come get it.
God
got
dang, do I
Terrible.
need to
I
put
can't.
both my
Those are
hands up?
customers' hats. All right. So anyway, but you know what? I throw the owner with the screw lock. I have no problems getting hook sets or anything like that.
I mean, it just depends.
You know what I'm saying?
It ain't about the hook set. It's just about the fall.
I throw
But I
a
throw
dirty
I
jigs
throw
with
an
a
eighth.
screw lock.
I throw an eighth. I throw really light. Now Kevin Underwood's the one that got me in on the.
But if you
the
watch
light.
it on scope, you'll watch how different the fall is.
Oh, again, man, I'm in the Stone Ages. I ain't got scope on my boat, so
If you watch it on 360 hard enough, you still won't see it.
I can't tell nothing on 360 other than what a rock is. So, right now it'd be good to throw the OSP Dolive, DOLIVE Beaver on a free rig. Do live Beaver, a do live
I don't
Beaver,
even know, son.
I don't know what that is.
I'm glad he's not talking about the crankbait.
a do live Beaver. I don't know. Becky unplugged them wires. There you go, right there. Becky comes.
Oh,
see
Becky. Thanks, Randy.
Becky. Does the turnover happen on Latham and Hickory log? 100%. Latham absolutely turns over, and you will definitely be able to tell it because that's normally a crystal clear lake, and it gets very stained up. So, Nate Fisher caught them good at Lake Russell last week on a shaky head and a DT10. So cranking and a shaky head. Tracy Coker says spike it makes the marker with scent.
I like the spike it marker.
You know what's funny though? Jonathan Farmer the other night, he said he would take spike it, a bottle of brand new spike it, and pour it out, and then pour his JJ's in it because he likes spike it's bottle better.
It doesn't blow up.
And that's the one bad thing about JJ's.
Oh, it's toxic.
And when that thing blows, man, it blows, and you don't get that. He's just like a bobblehead over that thing. I'm really liking the Z-Man SMH worm. Okay, so they
Shaking my head
shaking
worm?
my head worm, maybe. Titus says, can y'all say what y'all think it's going to take Saturday on Allatoona to win for the Toys for Tots? So yes, they're having the Toys for Tots, the Allatoona one.
I'm gonna go 734.
Nah, it's going to take 12 to 13 pounds. I noticed that the tournament, the Sunday morning trail, I think it was a Sunday morning trail. It took a little over 12 to win.
I bet you it takes 15 to win Allatoona. That's my
Take
guess.
14 or 15 with the people they got going there.
Is Barday fishing it or the Thurmans?
Probably.
Okay, well, that makes sense right there. Nathan Skinner, the traditional shaky head, you get a spiral fall. Absolutely. Danny, did you see tannic water in Allatoona this weekend? It was turning last weekend for sure. In Stamp Creek, it looked like Stamp Creek. So, I mean, it was not tannic to me at all, but could have been. But like I said, with it possibly turning it over, every fish we caught was on the bottom. And I did not see any of the normal topwater, at least schooling activity in Stamp Creek, other than every daggum gar / carp in the entire lake, I think, was in Stamp Creek, rolling around and splashing. So Titus says I'm swinging hard. So Nathan wants to know where Joe Dirt is. So put that camera on you and show it. Look at that. You do
Joe
look like,
Dirte.
listen, you do look like the mullet angler though.
I don't know.
I
who
got the
that is.
poo on me.
What's his name?
I don't know. He works at Cabela's.
Where's it? It's Daniel, ain't it?
I think so.
Oh, I know who you're talking
Daniel,
about.
he's
Daniel Hamilton.
He
Dan-
works at Cabela's.
He works at Cabela's over there in Ackworth.
I'm way more handsome.
Well, listen,
way
you need to
more
let
handsome.
somebody else tell you that.
You're way more handsome, Alex.
But hey, Titus, if you're fishing that, go for it. And I'm telling you what, come up to the Lanier tournament with us as well. It's going to be fun. Don't worry about winning it. Just come up there and have fun with us. Gar up shallow bluegill hunting. I saw huge ones by Toto the other week chasing gills. I'm telling you, I must have seen 15,000 gar.
Damn it, Hank, shut the.
All right, so
Shut
Ryan
up.
Hanks. All right, so what the hell? He wrote a paragraph right there. One of the deadliest things to throw on Lanier in the fall is a 5-inch Yamamoto Hula Grub cinnamon black flake, to be exact, on a spot sticker crawler head. They will eat it on the days they won't touch a standard jig. Okay.
Fake news. It's not real.
Would you like to elaborate a little bit more on that?
I'm just saying it's not real. That ain't true. They don't touch that color at all on any spotted bass lake ever. They say cinnamon is not the Winneman. I am not eating the cinnamon black flake.
Is that what they say?
Yep.
I will tell you this. Yamamoto twin tail grub trailers, my favorite by far is cinnamon with black flake. I throw it 90% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Titus, y'all leave his boy alone. I don't know. Are you talking about Daniel or are you talking about Alex over there? Now, here's a question, and I want you to talk long enough so I can go find my hat so I can get this bald spot off the camera right here. Would you fish main lake points better than the back of creeks during a turnover? So a turnover specific question. What would you target? The main lake points or the back of creeks?
The last time I was out there, I was catching them off main lake and secondary points. I never really went all the way to the back. I'm sure there's a bunch of fish back there, but most of the fish I caught, I ended up catching them on the outside, that main stuff, whether it was brush or rock around the deep stuff.
All right, so you got that. Did you talk long enough? There you go.
Yep.
All right, so that's much better. That damn toboggan was getting hot. All right, so they love the cinnamon black and purple flakes. Anything cinnamon with me works really good with the jig. Titus Williams. We won a Porco's with 14.99. We're going to try to make it happen Saturday. Hey, best of luck, dude. I hope you do. Again, like I said, go try to win it, but it's for a good cause. Absolutely. So, Tracy Coker. My partner caught a spot right at 4 pounds on a cinnamon jig. So, yes, it will catch him. I want to ask you guys this question. It has nothing to do with anything we're talking about, but I've got the skirt material, and I was just kind of noticing it when I was setting up the show earlier today. Sand jigs, sandworms sell in the late fall during the wintertime. Can anybody give me a reason why the color sand works in the winter? Late fall, wintertime. Do you ever throw sand?
Yeah, so what happens in the fall is that water is lowering a little bit, and what else is lowering with the water? That's sand. So they are just on that sand pattern because they eat a lot of sand. And at this time of year, that sand is what they like to eat. I'm just kidding. I don't ever throw the sand. I don't ever throw the sand.
I was going to say, how much bourbon have you drunk over there?
17.
There you go. What about you?
I've thrown the sand before, but I typically throw it usually in the pre-spawn.
So late winter, early spring.
Yeah. I mean, there was a couple of years ago, 3 or 4 years ago when I got here, they were like chomping. If you weren't throwing sand, you were getting your head kicked in.
Right.
I hadn't heard that recently. But like I said, it was a pre-spawn, into spawn bite where they just turned on it.
Okay. Let's see. So they eat sand sandwiches, surf dead, everything lightens up. And that might be a good point. During the turnover, check everything. Bring every bait. And this is from Kevin Underwood. Bring every piece of wardrobe. And that's true, because like I said, that front come in, it was crazy. I was honestly, I'm sunburned from Saturday, and I had a sweatshirt on with my hood up the entire day on Sunday. It was, you got to be ready. I just got here. What in the blue hell is going on? Oh, so that's Jeremiah. Well, Jeremiah, you are in the twilight zone tonight. So this is our alter egos coming out. The sand color are hard to come by for the Zoom baits. I got some. But the color that I've got in my jig skirt material is called Zoom Sand. So that's what I'll be tying some up. They seem to sell. And I know that Softy out of Kennesaw, for those of you that know anything about Softy lures, their worms, they float. Great product. They have a sand, and I sell a bunch of them. So Discover Bass says pre-spawn. Okay, so that might be it. I just know that it just popped into my mind. We're talking about that today. Nate Fisher. Ask me. If you ask him, the robo worm in bitch and crawl is kind of a sand color, and I catch a lot on it. Okay, so there you go.
Yeah. And there's another trick. You can find it. I think it's called moccasin blue. With Zoom.
Yep.
Buy a couple packs in the wintertime, sit them out in the sun where they won't melt, and let them bleach. They look really, really. They start to get that sand look to them.
Gotcha. Okay. So Philip Hunt, and I mentioned this at the beginning of the show. We're getting ready to do it here about halfway through. Danny, I've heard that you had a lot of interest in the draw, and I will put up the money for one additional boat entry out of December 7th out of the AFL Georgia's pocket. Okay, so I want you to clarify that for me, Philip. You want me to pull out 2 entries? Because I know we're going 1. I know you've already prepaid for 1. I'll pull out 2 numbers. I'll get the money to you. Okay, well, I'm going to do 2 here in probably about 5 minutes. We're going to do that. So lip sticker, I pour a sand color when I have time. Absolutely. So, and I didn't mean to derail the conversation to sand, but I saw them today and I'm like, I got to tie these up. And I just wondered, what is it? Is that mask still comfortable for you?
Not really, but
take it off.
I'm going to make it about an hour.
About an hour. You can go an hour. 2 entries. All right. So we'll do that. So yeah. And that's for the December 7th Toys for Tots tournament. Okay. When does the crankbait? And this is going on because Kevin was live and he was throwing a crankbait on Lanier. When is and I like to call it the rock crawler bite because I love a Spro rock crawler more than any other crankbait out there. That's just my favorite. When is the rock crawler bite really going to kick? You can catch fish on it right now, but I'm talking those crawl patterns that everybody likes to throw, your green pumpkin orange, your reddish colors. When is that bite going to kick in? Because to me, I think late fall, wintertime. Are we getting close to that? Yay, Nate?
I wouldn't say we're close to it, but we're not far away from it. I would say December 7th, Toys for Tots tournament, you ought to be throwing a rock crawler.
And is that a water temperature thing or is just?
Yeah, it's a temperature thing because like you could be slow rolling a spinnerbait or throwing jerkbait or something like that.
You think that's more effective right now?
Right now, just when the fish are moving faster, but then you got to think that rock crawler when you're burning and pausing and bouncing off of rocks and stuff, that's more of that slower reaction bite kind of deal where it's not you're just chucking and winding, but you're kind of just like burning and pausing kind of deal.
I got you. So lip sticker says probably the next full moon.
Yep. It was at a sliver tonight when I was driving over here. It was at almost a new moon.
So we're probably like 4 or 5 weeks away,
yep.
And that will put us right close to that Toys for Tots tournament, like what you said. Nate Fisher says water temp's got to be in the 50s. Hey, good bite. That works.
Yep.
I just love that bite. I love that bite. I'm just itching and dying to throw those things.
I thought it was a hoax when I showed up, and everybody was like, "Yeah, go throw a rock crawler in the mornings," and I was like, okay. I went and did it, and we caught a bunch in January, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's great all winter.
Yeah.
I just want to know when that crankbait bite starts. So a lot of you guys have said crankbaits have been brought up, and you actually got a couple, Dave, right there. Are those rock crawlers?
Yeah, these are. I like him, like now. And then
you like that for right now?
For now, and then I'll start transitioning to more reds.
Yeah. See, I like that.
I'm a like a 62 and below.
Yeah.
I'm more of a water temperature.
What is the water temp on in there right now? Anybody know what the water temp is? I know
upper
on
60s.
Upper
60s.
Upper 60s.
Water temperature.
Yeah, I got Garmin on there.
He got Garmin, man. He stuck his finger down there and went, Joe Dirt said he's got a Garmin.
I got
he
two
got
Garmins.
the poo on me, son.
He's got 2 Garmins on that boat he calls a kayak right
I like
there. I tell you what, you kayak guys are I love you guys. Y'all are so different. Hey, why not? Let me ask you a question, serious question.
What's up?
Why not get a boat?
I don't have anywhere to keep it.
Damn good answer.
I got a driveway, bro.
Yeah, so do I, but I barely got enough room for the kayak trailer in it.
I got you.
Saying you can keep it.
But I mean,
yeah, of course. I bet I could keep it at your house as long as I'll let you use it anytime you want.
Yeah, but that was a serious question. What made you decide to get in a kayak over a boat?
Well, when I got my kayak originally, I didn't buy it to fish out of it. And it had fishing rod holders on it, so I went and bought some fishing gear, and it's been downhill ever since then.
I got you. So something you just kind of eased into.
Yeah.
So you didn't fish before you bought the kayak?
When I fished before I bought the kayak, it was like once a year at my uncle's house. It was
So
never.
yeah, he got
So
into
the kayak
fishing.
gave you the bug,
Yeah, pretty much.
the sickness.
The sickness.
Yeah.
You down with the sickness right now, huh? All right, let's do this because I know Phillips. I like Alex's long hair.
Me too.
I'm telling you, it's kind of sexy back there a little bit. Now, the problem is you can't see the rest of his daggum costume with them beady little legs.
Yeah, he's
gla-
got some.
I got
booty
sunglasses
shorts on.
I ain't wearing glasses to be cool. It's because Alex has got shorts on back there. He's got a, what do you call those when you cut the, we did that stuff back in the
It's a
80s.
crop
them
top.
jorts.
Crop top.
Oh,
He's got
yeah,
a
he
crop
does have a
top.
crop top Camaro shirt on.
He
too.
I
got
do
it
have
at
the crop top Camaro
1981.
shirt. Yeah, the Berlinetta, baby.
I'll be doggone. You remember, hey, back in the 80s, like early 80s, like the college football guys, their uniforms were all cut. You know, they wore
Yep.
those short. That was just the style back then.
And old
Mhm.
Brandy from Joe Dirt, she wore a crop top.
Hey,
too.
listen, now she was a good-looking woman.
Still is. Saw her last week at the stop and go.
Did you really?
Yep.
Billy Ray hit up Joe Dirt's girlfriend.
Oh yeah, outside of Nashville, Tennessee, up there in Franklin, you know.
Can't take you serious.
I can't either.
I can't take you.
I
I can't
either.
take you serious at all. Hand me that cup over there. We're gonna go ahead and do the drawing right now. All right. So again, for those of you that were a little late to the start, we got the Toys for Tots tournament December 7th on Lake Lanier out of Laurel Park. Okay, guaranteed $5,000 first place prize provided by our wonderful sponsors. And I'll try to name them real quick. Of course, you got the AFFL, Armed Forces Fishing League. You've got Lip Sticker Fishing. You've got Brooks Anderson Fishing. Digital Sportsman is the title sponsor. Fish North Georgia, of course. Roy Brown Construction out of the Calhoun area. I know I'm leaving somebody off because I'm doing this really quick. Trent Palmer, Sonar Pros, is going to do it. Alan Brooks. Guys, for those of you who remember the TAA, his company, and I
Serve
believe
IT.
it's Serve IT. They're going to actually be a sponsor as well. I talked to Alan today. Let's just say those of you that love what the TAA did, there's something coming. That's all I got to tell you. There is something coming, and you guys are going to enjoy it. Is it an open tournament? 100%. Here's the requirements. $80 entry fee. You can fish solo, or you can bring a partner. You got to pay the entry fee. You got to bring an unwrapped toy for the Hall County Toys for Tots. And that's what this tournament's all about, regardless. It's bringing those toys so those kids have a Christmas. The entry fees of the $80, $60 goes towards the pot. $20 goes to the big fish. Think if we get 100 boats, what big fish is going to be. If we get some extra sponsor money, we're going to throw some stuff on down the line. But first place, man, $5,000 guaranteed. Got the check sitting in the till up there. It's there. It is there. So
I'm gonna come in 32nd place.
is that what you're calling right now?
Yeah,
32nd?
I'll be in 32nd with
I can't fish it.
1726.
I can't fish it because the weigh-in at 2:00 that day, the podcast is going to go live on YouTube, and we're going to talk for a while. And then once the boats start coming in, I'm going to go up on stage and be the weighmaster, EMC, whatever you want to call that. And we're going to have all of it airing live right here at FNGO. So let me go ahead and pick out, before we get to your question there, Silver Punk, we're going to pick out 2 names from this. And let me stroll them around in my fingers. So spot number 1 for the free entry fee that's already been paid for is Brad Hart. So Brad Hart. Brad, if you're watching, congratulations. If not, I will contact you tomorrow and let you know the one spot. And then, of course, now Philip said, hey, 1's not enough. Let's do 2. And so I'm going to pick another name right here, and I will get you your boat number. Raphael D. Christina. So Raphael D. Christina. Just put Raphael D right there. You get the second one right there. So that's pretty cool of the AFFL doing that, Philip Hunt and the guys. Again, if you're interested in signing up for that tournament, Buford Dam Bait and Tackle. If you're in the Lakeland area, go by there, check out their fine shop. You can sign up. The guys will give you your boat number right then and there, let you go ahead and sign the waiver. Or if you're not in that area, you can come by Fish North Georgia. If you're out of the area, say you're up at Hartwell, you're a Tennessee guy, you want to just come down there and you join us for this event, message me at Fish North Georgia or Danny Pruitt on Messenger, and I'll get you set up as well. So it's going to be a great time. Appreciate you guys for reaching out to me. Philip, thank you for doing that. That is a great thing. And to let you guys know, another group, Fishers of Hope, reached out to me, and they want to do the exact same thing. So I want to get through this drawing and give it 2 weeks. So Fishers of Hope is going to pay for another spot because that gentleman is not going to get to fish it. He may make it to the weigh-in, but he wants to help out as well. So you guys, I'll put it out on the Fish North Georgia group page on Facebook tomorrow. You guys that didn't win on this one, you got another round. You got another 2 weeks. And then after that, you're going to have to go up to the Buford Dam Bait and Tackle here, and you're going to have to pay. And come see us, and we'll get you all set up. So it's going to be a great event. And good luck to those guys that are fishing the Allatoona event that's coming up Saturday. So Silver Punk. I'm a novice kayak fisherman, so it's good to see y'all have the Yak guys on the podcast. Well, occasionally they get out on parole, and we let them come in. We're trying to get them started back in life.
Purrs paroles.
Yeah, Purrs is paroled, and he gets to come out. They let him out on work release on Tuesday nights, and so we absolutely enjoy doing our part to help society's lesser individuals get a fresh start. One day we're gonna get them in a bass boat, but no, seriously, I love the kayak guys. I will tell you this, and this is the truth: if you're a business owner and you need to sponsor somebody, Glitter Rocket guys, I love you. Everything. Kayak guys are by far the best anglers to sponsor because them jokers are all social media fluent. And they will post your name and they will tag you and they will do that. So in my experience, you can't beat a kayak guy. They're not as
you
good
can
looking
find
as
me
the
on
rest of them.
TikTok. It's a Bassasinator.
What's
always
that?
Always looking for more sponsors.
What is Bass? What's your TikTok?
Bassasinator. Bassasinator.
Put the
Like
cam-
assassinator.
Put the camera on you.
The Bassasinator.
Back assinator.
The Bassasinator.
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 With that hair, back assinator would be far more appropriate right there.
Party in the back.
Party in the back.
Party looks like it's in the front.
Not
there,
that
Purrs,
kind of
too.
party.
Not that kind of party. All right, you've gone an hour. You want to take that mask off now? You're getting used to it. He's liking that, man. I'll tell you what. All right, so Jeremiah Guile says, can we get a jerkbait show?
How about we get you want me to get Patrick Walters and Justin Hamner for a jerkbait show?
I do.
That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
Can you do that? Can you pull that off?
Hey, Patrick,
Okay.
Justin, I know they watch every single show every single week. Can y'all come on and do a jerkbait show
Does Patrick Walters really watch our show?
every week?
You lying at your ass right there.
Son.
But we know him, so
Yeah.
that would be good. I mean, yeah,
That'd be
we
pretty
could,
cool.
I tell you what I'm trying to do here is, we want to get a good combination of our national pros and those kind of guests, but always keep some local content, keep you guys engaged and all that. That's why we're doing a few of these shows that are more topic specific. And because we love you guys are the foundation of the show. So we would definitely want to keep you guys around. But it really would be good if we could get some big name guys that are making money throwing baits like that to kind of talk about the differences and how they throw it and how
And
we
they
throw it.
nerd out. Like a lot of us will change hooks and split rings and play around with the weights of a jerkbait. But dude, they do some crazy stuff with a jerkbait, which they might not tell it all, but they'll tell you some stuff that's pretty cool.
Will Harkins, when he was on, he fishes the MPFL. For those of you that don't know Will, he's from Blairsville, Georgia, up north. Not quite a Yankee, but close enough. He was talking on the podcast one night about putting skirts on a jerkbait. Like they tinker. He likes to tinker with things, and he actually, I don't know how he did it, but he had a jerk on a jerkbait.
He had a jerk on a skirt.
He had a skirt on a jerkbait. So,
Yep.
very interesting. So here we go. What's the next question? Philip Hunt says, Alex can come on my boat anytime so I can see how he catches those fish I keep seeing him catch on his TikToks. Well, there you go. So there's your date. You and Philip.
cute.
I'm wearing the wig.
Would you do that?
Oh, yeah, I'd wear the wig.
Would you do your next TikTok with the wig on?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
We don't want people to get you confused with
I'll,
Daniel.
I'll
now.
wear this baby during the Toys for Tots tournament.
Hey, I'll wear this outfit for the Toys for Tots. We'll go hard.
I might never take this wig off. It might grow into my skull like Joe
Yeah.
Dirks actually did.
You like that?
Yeah, I do. I like it.
All you need is a trailer with a big pile of shit walking around, and you'd be all right. You'd be Joe Dirks right there. So, Discover Bass Adventures. I gone from a kayak to a used bass boat. It was one of the best decisions I've made. I still kayak fish on the river though. Yeah, and I got a kayak back here that the great people at Westbrook gave to me, and I've got to get into it. I've definitely got to get into it just to see how it is. But hey, as long as you're fishing, it doesn't matter what you're in. Just got to get out there fishing. All right, so let's get back to the fishing talk, the fall fishing talk. Now, what is one of the biggest mistakes you see guys make in passing or hearing them talk about fishing in the fall?
Getting stuck in practice.
Now, what do you mean by that?
Trying to live your practice. Oh, dude, I caught him so good on a spinnerbait. And then you show up tournament day. It could be the next day. You could have snuck out of work early on Friday, practice all day, and then you're ready to fish on Saturday, and you try to do the same thing, and it does not work. Because, like, prime example, on my Saturday, Bluebird skies, super calm, caught the crap out of them on a jig, and later in the day, the wind picked up just a tiny little bit, and I threw a spinnerbait. Sunday, I threw a jig as much as I possibly could because I caught a bunch of fish on it the day before. I could not get them to even look at a jig. They would just mosey on down to it, whereas on Saturday, they shot down to it.
So you're just saying you got caught sticking to something that wasn't working. You didn't. You were hard-headed and didn't change.
And I feel like if I would have practiced for that tournament, I would not have done as good as I did in that tournament.
Because of that.
Because of the preconceived notions. I mean, you have to focus so much on fishing the moment in these fall tournaments because it changes so much. You have a turnover on a certain part of the lake where you don't have a turnover on the other end of the lake. Like I fished 65-degree water on Saturday, and I also fished 58-degree water. I mean, I was bouncing all over the place. Like, you have to be able to fish around the lake, fish around the conditions, because it's gonna change so much. It's the junk fishing this time of year in the fall. And so you have to have, I had 10 rods on the deck, and I had 10 rods on the deck by the end of the day, and they didn't change, but that's still 10 different options to throw at them.
Mm-hmm.
And what did I end up catching them on? I caught all of my fish on a jig and a spinnerbait. And the same thing on the day after, I still caught my fish mainly on a spinnerbait, and I caught one on a jig. So it was like a flip-flop of the day before. But if you don't pay attention to how are they reacting to the bait, every fish I caught on Saturday was on live scope with a jig. Every fish I caught on Sunday was on a spinnerbait without live scope. So it's like you have to pay attention to how much it changes, because wherever that fish is in the water column, how they're behaving, if there's a cold front that hits them on the head, things like that, like you have to adjust to the conditions.
Gotcha. So Discover Bass says fishing an area for too long or stuck throwing a bait for too long, not being willing to change. I get that. Tony says, great advice, Clint. I can get stubborn real quick. Lipsticker says, biggest mistake I see people making is letting that big motor get cold in one place. So basically the same thing, not being willing to move. And I'm going to ask you to let you answer that question, Dave. One thing I did notice in our tournament was one of the gentlemen that was fishing it that made it to Sunday with us. He was like, man, I was out here last week and had 11 pounds. And now what I'm, they're not doing the same thing, It does change that quick. He had pre-fished a lot, but he got stuck, I guess, in hoping that pattern stayed and couldn't make that change or that transition.
Mm-hmm.
Still caught fish, but not the quality fish that he was catching previous to that. What do you think, Dave, on that? What's the biggest mistake guys make in the fall?
I'm with Kevin. You cover water and cover water and cover water until you get in an area where they say you're in the right spot.
Yeah.
So I'm running all over the place trying to find fish.
Makes sense. So Tony, pull up Tony's comment. Lipsticker, that was the biggest thing I learned from our trip. I still tell everyone I've never moved spots that much. And I fished with Kevin. I know what you're talking about, but it's interesting because when I get the guys like Emil Wagner on here, Brooks Anderson, all those, and you ask them the question, how many spots do you hit in a given tournament on a given day? And they start throwing out 80, 70 to 90 spots. And people are like, there's no way. And I'm like, no, yes, There's that way. They'll make a cast or two and go, a cast or two and go. One thing I learned from Kevin is, and a lot of guys, to be honest, is if you're on a spotted bass lake and you pull that pile, that wolf pack from that pile, a lot of guys will continue to fish for them.
Yeah.
Those fish, you may catch one every once in a while, but for the most part, they don't bite again.
No, it's 'cause
They'll set up again, but right then and there, you're wasting your
well,
time.
They bit because they're set up correctly. When you pull them, now they're not set up correctly.
Right.
I mean, I was on Lanier 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I ran from Flowery Branch all the way across almost to the mouth of Young Deer to fish on one rock.
Yeah.
I pulled in there and caught a 3.5 pounder first cast.
And then that was it.
That was it.
And then you left.
I left.
Yeah, that is something though that the kayak guys and us in the electric only world cannot do near as effectively
Right.
as you guys. We have to fish a spot out, sometimes to our detriment. Derek O, his question is, how often would you come back to a place where you know there's a group of bigs that isn't turned up yet? So let's say you go, you make your cast, maybe you pull the fish off the pile, but you don't get one. The other night it was said, and it might have even been said by you, Clint, about letting those fish set back up, or somebody, and it was Brooks. Brooks Anderson said, hey, I'll come back to that pile. I'll hit it 2 or 3 more times that day.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you answer that question? How often would you come back? Say you got that rock. Dave, we'll let you answer it first. So you know that rock's got bigs on it. You go there, they didn't bite. How soon do you go back? And if they don't bite, how many times will you keep hitting that rock that day, knowing that they're there?
For shallow cover, I only maybe hit it once or twice. Now, if it's like a pile on there and I see multiple fish in there, I might hit it 3 or 4 times in a day. Give it an hour and a half between each time.
Yeah.
To set up. A lot of those fish, like those rockfish and things like that, there's not a bunch there. Now, I pulled up on a place the other day. It was a bunch. I could see it. I was catching on the shaky head on active target.
Right.
And I stayed there with them about 30 minutes and caught them down the stretch, and I left. I came back that about 2 hours later and culled 2 or 3 of the ones I had caught on that same stuff. I think I hit that place 3 or 4 times that day.
All right. What about you, Clint? And I'm gonna let you two answer that because, like I said, me and Alex are in a little bit different boat because we don't get to run and gun as much.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely still run and gun a good bit. It's just a matter of how do you recycle that water? How fast do you recycle it? Like, do you have 30 spots or do you have 10? Like, there's a big difference. And, like, most of the time, I'm the guy with 10. And I will hit 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'll go back through the 1, 2, 3, 4 and just see if I can make them fire up.
Just rotating.
And if I rotate them and the second rotation sucks, then I'll completely find 4 new spots.
Okay. So you get it a couple times.
Yep.
All right, makes sense. Discover bass. Is it true that you don't want to release the fish back into the pile or to mess up the school? I've heard people keep them on the live well and release them, to the next spot. Does anyone do this? I will say that I've heard many people in a tournament situation, if they're fired, especially if that school is really fired up and you're catching multiple fish, put them in the live well. Don't let them go for whatever reason they say. What do you think?
It don't matter what time of year. I mean, you got to think. I mean, that spotted bass is a little schoolgirl that's going to go tell all of her friends, hey, I just got a lip piercing. Don't get one. It hurt.
It's funny, though. People say it that way.
Yeah.
How do they communicate it?
They rub noses or flip their scales or something. I don't know. I
There's
really
something
don't
they
know.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is something they do.
Well, a lot of times they're and this is the only place I've ever seen it when I moved here. I always heard on TV, oh, there's 2 with him. We never saw that back home in Texas. I mean, South Louisiana. But you pull a school up, they come up to the boat. You can see them. Well,
Yeah.
Now they've seen you.
So you think it's more of that?
I mean, I'm gonna say the worst thing you can do is pull up to a pile and hook one and lose him.
Mhm.
I'd rip the trolling motor up and I'm gone.
You're going.
I'm not even making another cast in there.
So discover bass. Yes, it is true. Yes, a lot of guys on these spotted bass lakes say that. He put, I feel like the fish releases pheromones into the water like stress hormones, but who knows?
That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree.
They give off that scent of I just got caught.
Just like some kind of energy or whatever,
Okay, so I'm gonna play devil's advocate on that. Okay, just and I'm not disagreeing with you, but let's play devil's advocate. How fast can those pheromones actually travel through the water to other fish so that they know?
Have you seen Finding Nemo when he smells the blood?
Billy Ray, I want what you're having tonight.
Son.
That's all I got to say. I want some of what you got. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm being very serious.
Yeah, no,
if it is a
100%.
pheromone thing, and there are guys far more qualified than we are,
See, I told you I was on to something with the Finding Nemo.
Well, he heard your butt say that. Yeah, he's going to agree with you because he likes you. But I mean, seriously, and to me, it's almost like scents on a crankbait that you're moving fast through the water. To me, scent makes 0 sense on a crankbait. Now, maybe when they bite it, it might have something to help them, but you're pulling a rock crawler through there. I just don't think there's that much time for that scent to lay a trail. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, I'm one of the more ignorant anglers out there, so maybe somebody more educated than me can say that. But you know, that kind of thing right there, I don't know. It makes sense. They got to do it some way naturally if it is true. So you buy the pheromone thing though?
I don't know. I think it's more if something's not natural. Like I said, if you pull them, they get up there around the boat, they know something's there.
Right.
That's my thought. I don't know about the pheromone. I had no idea.
Right. Let's see. King of Bass. Danny, come down to Allatoona for the Toys for Tots. Don't be scared. Great Lake. It's tons of big fish. Dude, I don't know about the last sentence.
Yeah,
I do believe it's a great lake. I don't know about tons of big fish. Listen, I ain't been deer hunting yet this week, so I'm thinking about going deer hunting over in Wilkes County. So, but I might, if I can find somebody that's a boater wants to go down there and fish it, we might show up. I might talk to some guys. We'll see. I don't think we can prove it just like bait fuel. Bait fuel needs to be in an adult bookstore is all I need. That's all I got to say about bait fuel. That's the slickest stuff I've ever held in my life. Y'all laugh, but have you ever used it?
I got some in my boat.
You got some in your boat? Have you ever poured it on a pack of worms?
No.
I poured it.
Sounds like you poured it on your pack of worms.
I did pour it on my pack of worms. I got a pack of softies. And listen. I took my softie and I poured the bait fuel on it. And I let it soak and simmer in it all night long.
And them pheromones were on
fire. The pheromones were on fire. The next day I go to grab my softie and it kept slipping out of my hand. I could not even screw the thing onto my owner's shaky head that has the screw lock on it. It was the slick. I actually had to, honest truth, I had to put the worm between my legs, close my legs, and pull it and get that stuff off of it. Y'all like the way that went? But that's the truth. That is the slickest stuff known to man.
It's slimy.
Slimy ain't the word for it. It's slick.
No, it's like coconut oil. It's very simple.
Coconut oil.
Yeah.
What is bait fuel made out
of? Pheromones, I reckon.
Yeah. Does anybody know? Does anybody in the comment section know? Anybody out there know exactly what bait fuel is made?
Pretty sure there's an NDA somewhere that you can't say what it's actually made out of.
You can't say it. Yeah. Well, it should be down there in Wingers or whatever when them bookstores are. Let's see. Pull up Tony's real quick. Go up there to the top. It could be as simple as when you release it, he darts off into the abyss and his buddies follow. Like David said, they usually come with him to the boat.
And then you drop the ice.
That's as good of an answer as anything.
Well, another thing, I watched a bunch of stuff, and I watched something with, I don't know, it was either Casey Ashley or Brandon Cobb or one of them when I was learning about the Heron Lakes. And they were, I think it was Cobb. He said, go in there, he'll catch a 4-pounder, pull the trolling up and leave. And let them sit back up. And that's, like I said, it's, you're pulling these fish out of there one after, they don't hardly bite. And he said, the worst thing you have is somebody that come behind you and sitting on top of that pile. He said, if you see that, you can write that one off.
Because they're still messing it up. I've
personally seen that. I had a place on Lanier. I pulled in there and caught 2 4-pounders off 2 different brush piles. Ran down the Ball Ridge, caught a largemouth off of brush piles. The only place I can catch a largemouth on Lanier is in Ball Ridge, oddly enough.
There are plenty there, though.
Came back up, and there was some dude sitting over there doodling on them. I scanned it 3 more times. They were gone.
They were gone. He messed it up. They never set back up. Yes, Tracy, there probably is a YouTube video about the pheromone things. But again, you got to take YouTube carefully. because not everybody knows what they're talking about. So, but I do understand what you're saying. I'm sure there's plenty of them out there. Did the softy become a hardy? Yeah, there you go. At my age, it does. Let's see. Lip sticker. I got you working hard out there. Pull up lip sticker right there. I don't buy it. No matter where you go now, you're fishing for pressured fish. 8 years ago, you could catch them back to back. And the pressure might have something to do with it as well. So that makes sense, Kevin. Absolutely. Silver Punk. Here we go. Let's read this. Bait fuel is a water-based gel that's made of a combination of natural compounds that mimic the smell and taste of prey for fish. Believe it 100%. My problem is that I think guys will put that on. You put it on a jig or a slow-moving bait, I'll give you that as far as laying a scent trail. But it's got to go slow because you got to give that water time to disperse the bait fuel, let it flow through the water for the first time it comes across a fish, and they're like, that smells like, and they go after it. I think most things move too fast. I do believe in what he says. And again, I could be wrong. I do believe what he says when he says the taste. So like when they hit it, maybe if they hit the jig that's got the bait fuel or something like that, it tastes more natural. Maybe it gives you another half a second to a second that they hold on to it. I don't know that I agree with my logic in my brain, and it's not everybody's brain, but my logic doesn't understand the scent part of it.
Well, the other thing too is we can't mimic their environment. So, for instance, here's a good analogy, if there is one. You get in the bed with your wife tonight.
Hell yeah, I like where this is going.
Take the bait fuel off, and you fart. Now, how long is it before she slaps the hell out of you?
Well, generally quick because I make, yeah.
Okay. All right. She knows it's there. So, would the fish be the same way? That's his house.
So what you telling me? Let me get this right, Clint. I'm gonna need you to kind of judge this.
Kiefer bubble, son.
So what he's saying is
something in their house.
He just compared gas in the bed with your wife to bait fuel down on the brush pile.
That's right.
Hey, listen, I can't argue against you.
I'm just saying.
I can't argue it. I don't know.
Something different. I mean, it's
Paul B. What the hell? Listen, I mean,
that's all I got.
But
I mean, it's.
I think my wife slaps me because she hears it, or because she feels my ass raise up off the bed and she knows I've done something.
So you got to be sneaky.
I tried that with the Kiefer. I tried that. So maybe it mimics the slime coat. It is a water-based gel, i.e., sex lube. That's what I'm saying. What is it? Stressed fit. Oh, good Lord. Leave it to Ken to have a logical adult answer.
Take Google away from him.
Stressed fish will release ammonia. This happens in your live well and can happen if it is stressed while fighting it. Now, see again. No, Ken, he's back there, so he'll probably throw something at me. I can't disagree with you. My brain can't wrap around that ammonia going off that fast for other fish to sense it.
Like I said, that's the only thing I can think of is that that's their environment. They know what.
Okay, yeah, it makes you. Bait fuel equals Dutch oven. This is going off the tangent, but I like it. Hey, listen, we have gotten a lot better at our tangents here over the last couple of years. We used to do tangents that would get us demonetized. So, but again, I know we were talking about fall bass fishing, but it goes to the whole market. How much of sense is marketing and how much of it really legitimately works?
JJ's works.
Huh?
JJ's works. There's no doubt in my mind.
But does JJ's work because of the scent or because of the color?
It's clear.
You use the clear stuff.
Yeah. I was watching. I fish dock lights a lot.
Put that camera on you, big guy. There you go.
Using the poor man's live scope, fishing dock lights, and fish are chasing and turning off of it. So I dip the tail in JJ's, throw it out, and boom, instantly. We pulled 3 or 4 off of the light, just one after the other.
Okay, devil's advocate. They chased for so long, they finally just decided to hell with it and eat.
No, ain't no way.
Ain't no way.
Ain't no way.
You really honestly believe that?
Yes, I do.
Listen, I can't, whip your hair out. Put the camera back on you, Alex. Would you please whip your hair? We're struggling for good looking people on this show right here. I can't, dude, you committed to that mask. You're going all
I'm
in.
All in.
You're all in tonight. You've
Yeah.
committed to it. Have you smelled? It pulls people's attention too. Have you smelled the Gee Crack Bellows gill bait? Smells like Fritos corn chips.
Dude, it does. He's right.
It does smell like corn chips.
Yep.
Okay.
It's like Fritos and a slight scent of a homeless man. Like only like a couple of weeks, not like a really long homeless, but just like recently divorced homeless.
I got nothing.
what am I supposed to say with that? A homeless man. All right. Okay. I think scent plays more in dirty water. Don't go to Oconee without JJ's.
See, he said smells like Funyuns.
Funyuns. Do you know that Funyuns are one of the best survival tools out there?
You can light them on fire.
You can light Fritos, you can light Funyuns. Anytime you're in a survival situation and you need to start a fire and you've got a corn-based chip, you can save your ass by lighting them things on fire.
I like it.
Duct tape works real good to start a fire too.
Duct tape works to start a fire.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things to start a fire, but hey, we eat that crap. Like I love some Funyuns. I love Funyuns. So, but it just goes to the scent thing. He says in dirty water it works.
In smallmouth, those guys, you don't go up there without max scent. You don't.
I see. I've got the max scent. Like I said, I talked earlier about the Shaky head. I threw the max scent hitworm. Is it the scent or is it the taste when they grab it?
I don't know. Like I said, the only time I've ever seen it work, we were using WD-40.
And WD-40 again, and those are oil based too. It seems like, I don't know. So it's an interesting thing just to sit around the campfire and talk about, because I don't know that any of us are educated enough to have a great answer for that. So, if you were going tomorrow, Lake Lanier, what are you starting off with?
My spinnerbait.
You're going to stick with the spinnerbait.
That one.
Now, you got white blades.
I got white blades.
Pull that picture up of him over there with that so people can see that. So that's what you're throwing.
I'm throwing that. I got this little trailer hook on the back.
You got the little stinger there.
I throw this till the sun comes up.
Yep.
It's cloudy, and then I switch to silver blades once I get some sun and some wind.
Okay.
I'm gonna throw him, or I'm gonna throw a shaky head.
That or shake it. Start off with a spinnerbait. Now those are white blades. Would you ever, if the spinnerbait bite was on and the sun came up and they were still hitting it, would you ever switch over to a nickel?
Yeah, I throw silver. Once the sun is up, I switch.
You switch to the nickel.
I have 2 spinnerbaits laying out in the morning.
Okay, and how are you working that spinnerbait?
As fast as you can read it.
So you're burning it.
As fast as you can. I'm throwing it on a 7.3 to 1 reel and snapping it the whole time.
Okay.
That's funny because I'm the opposite. Like the way I've been fishing a spinnerbait, I've just been fishing this one old flashy feller. I think it's a Georgia blade. But I've been fishing it as slow as I possibly can with the spinnerbait.
When you say slow, you ticking rocks with it?
I'm
You tapping the bottom?
it. I'm fading it. So old fighter calls it fading a spinnerbait. And it's when you throw it down a lay down and I want to work it with the rod tip up, and I'm just slowly creeping it to where as soon as it gets to that tip of that tree, I want to not be able to see the spinnerbait anymore. And that's when I get the bite. It's like a 2 foot off the tip of that tree, and then it'll be like you'll see a 4-pounder come across it. Okay,
so you hitting structure.
I'm fading the spinnerbait across some laydowns.
What are you hitting with your spinnerbait?
Whatever's there.
So you'll throw it on points and everything.
Points down a laydown.
But you still burn it, even if, like what he said, even if
it's moving.
Interesting. All right. So, what gear ratio are you throwing your spinnerbait? And I'll start with you because you're burning it.
I'm a 7.2, 7.3, whatever the Shimano Karada is.
Okay.
It's like a 7.2 or 7.3.
All right. And are you just reeling
I'm still throwing it on 7.2, but I am just
slower.
It way slower.
Okay. Nate Fisher wants to know spinnerbait where? Main Lake. He's,
Main Lake, rocks.
Main Lake brush. Yeah.
Brush. I caught someone the other day throwing it over a brush pile, just ripping it.
Now, I do know this summer, had a lot of guys talk to me about this. Then it did get talked about a lot out in social media, when everybody's throwing a Seville or a Fluke or something like that. They were taking the mini-me style baits, the faster spinner baits, and they were throwing those across brush piles and burning them back as opposed to a Seville, and they were getting hammered on it. Now, is that because they've seen so many Seville style baits? It's just something different. It might just be something that worked. Why do more guys not burn a spinnerbait across a brush pile over the summertime?
I don't know. I can't make them bite it. The first day I ever had active target and learned to do that was at Hartwell, and I was catching their butt on the spinner on that same spinnerbait, burning it across brush piles. So I had a kid back there with me that fished at Georgia College. He had never seen forward facing. He was back there filming it while I was catching them. They worked really good at Hartwell, but I haven't. That was the first time I've done it on Lanier over spinnerbait over brush.
That was a big thing this summer. Now, let's see. Pull up JP Vern, and I'll get Matty O's in and say, learn from Bill Dance that once a spinnerbait goes out of sight, that's the correct depth to run it. I will say this. I know Ryan, he loves putting his trolling motor on 10, flying up and down between docks and all that. He always said you want to see it to where you can just barely see it. So very close. Matty O, what's Danny's costume? Well, I started off as the bush guy. It started off the bush beer guy. But man, that toboggan got hot. So now I'm just Danny with a bush beer. And please send more right there. So Discover Bass Adventure. Would you still throw a spinnerbait if the water is calm as glass? Now, again, that goes to everybody says normally you got to have a little ripple.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You will.
Mm-hmm.
You're going against the.
I don't think you need wind to make a spinnerbait. It's purely reaction and where you put the bait. If I'm fishing cover like laydowns or docks or things like that, you don't have to have wind to make that fish bite. It's pure reaction strike.
What do you say though when somebody says, "Hey, you need a little ripple to kind of deflect what it actually looks
like"? Well, that
like.
means you're fishing points on Lanier. That's different.
So you're fishing different. Yeah. So if you're fishing heavy structure like you are, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What about docks? Doesn't matter.
I mean, it's all about speed, right? So, like, if I've got a little bit of a ripple, I'm going to throw a spinnerbait pretty normal, like your normal speed. If it's slick calm, I'm going to slow roll it with the rod tip up. If it's blowing, I'm going to be burning that thing. It just all depends on, like, what is the water doing? How is that light refracting off of those blades? Like, if you have those blades flashing, like, how does that bait look in the water?
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, a bait fish, whether it's swimming when it's calm or if it's swimming when it's blowing, it's going to look different between the two conditions. So it's like, how do you want to present it? Like if a bait fish is trying to swim through some windy waves, like it's going to be coming up and out of it. Like you can burn a spinnerbait to where the blades come out a little bit like a buzz bait. Like there's a lot of different things you can do, but you have to match the conditions because if you don't, like you're not going to catch up. Like if I went out there and burned a spinnerbait on Glenville on Sunday, I wouldn't have caught a single fish. I was slow rolling, creeping it with the rod tip up, and then it would just load up. Like it's all dependent on what is your conditions. But if it was blowing, I wouldn't have been just creeping it around.
Okay. Hey, makes sense. What do you think about what he said? Because you're a burner.
I am. I won't throw it. If it's calm, I'll throw it as long as I got low light.
But what's the light?
I'll never make it to the one with the silver blades. Now, if I'm on something besides a herring lake, then I'll throw this one. And I'll throw it around cover all day.
Because it's got the Colorado and the.
Yeah, I'm slow rolling it down through, lay downs or whatever else.
I love it. What? Are you trying to get my attention? Or are you just trying to stay awake back there? Just cleared your throat? Okay. Just want to check on you back there. But this is why I love this show. But we're talking about the same bait, and you guys throw it totally different things. And you had success on it. So both of you got confidence in the way you work it. JP Vern, let's see. At night, the ripple doesn't matter. Daylight, it just helps in open water, not structure. Kind of going what you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
How about this question? Just popped in my head. So he brought up nighttime spinnerbaits on Lanier. And again, this is more of a summer thing than it is now. When guys are throwing a spinnerbait, they're throwing a big Colorado, they're throwing it down. Why not throw it normal at night? Why do guys not just throw a spinnerbait like a spinnerbait? Why do you have to be down ticking the rocks?
I have no idea. I've never liked it.
What bait are they feeding on at that time of day? Is it herring or is it bluegill?
Okay, what do herring do at night?
They like the light. They like the sun.
So at night, are they down on the bottom though? And I know you're saying they might be feeding on bluegill or something, but herring go deep when it gets dark. Okay. I mean, it makes sense. I just thought I might have that question, just how come I can't just go out there and throw a spinnerbait regular? Just change the blade. But
And you can. It's a matter of a reaction strike, but it's like, how do you match the hatch the best of your ability? Like, you can have a 50-gallon aquarium and throw a bass in there and throw 50 herring in there, and then you throw a fluke in there. Is he going to eat your fluke? Maybe. He might.
Right.
But he might eat one of the 50 herring that's in there too. So it's like, it's a matter of like, how do you match the hatch the best you can and present it in the right way to the right fish that's willing to eat all that stuff. I mean, that's
okay. How much does forward-facing sonar come into play during the fall?
Me here lately on Lanier a lot. I'm learning and getting better with the shallow stuff.
Yeah.
Like I said, I had 17 pounds a day between a spinnerbait and a shaky head. And I watched every one of them eat the shaky head.
So you were using it on the bottom, watching them eat it.
Blinkers.
Well, blinkers, yeah. Mr. Paul
That's
Driscoll.
where I learned. I'm like, okay, if he can see them, I can probably see them. So I went to looking.
Okay.
And it's helped.
What about you?
I would say a good bit, just depending on where they're set up in the structure. Like, it's junk fishing time, you're going to be junk fishing down the bank, you're going to be junk fishing offshore, you're going to be doing a little bit of everything. But where those fish are set up, are they in the top of the pile? Are they at the end of the laydown? Are they in the heart of the laydown? Like, where are those fish at? What are they relating to? Why? Because, like, in the first 10 minutes of my tournament, I was like, okay, they're hanging out off the tips of trees. I'm going to throw a jig on the tips of trees. And that's what I did the rest of the day. But if I didn't have live scope, I wouldn't have known to swim that jig and then kill it at the end of the tree, because I wouldn't have known. I would have probably swam it through all the way through the thing. They might have followed it up. I might have seen them up beside the boat, and I wouldn't have caught those fish. But
okay, well, let me ask you this. For somebody that's going out this weekend, Lanier, Alaton, whatever, any of these southern lakes, that doesn't have live scope,
drag it and bag it, son.
I was going to say, what would you start off doing?
I would go drag something. See where, like, because when you're dragging something, that's the OG depth finder, right? Like, you're dragging a jig, you're dragging a Carolina rig. That's how you know your depth that you're getting bit in. So if you're dragging a jig on a point and you realize that you're getting bit in 8 to 10 foot, then you're going to start targeting those areas. You're going to start bouncing around looking for those laydowns that have 8 to 10 foot, or looking for that rock that's in 8 to 10 foot, or wherever you're actually getting bit. So you just got to pay attention a little bit more. It's not as efficient, but you can still do it. I mean, you don't have to have live scope to go catch them in the fall. That's the beauty of being able to junk fish all through the fall.
Okay. What do you say to that question?
I like what he said. I like one piece of what he really said. Take Carolina rig. When I got here, I didn't have live scope.
Carolina rig.
And I put a big tungsten weight on there, and I went to finding rock. I found a lot of stuff that you can't see with your eye that I know's there because of a Carolina rig, and I've marked it, and I've gone back. Now I can see it with live scope.
Right.
I get to a point, I'm like, what's it hung on? About the time it jump up a little bit on there. That's a bolt down there.
Yeah.
Or a big piece of chunk rock. I found so much stuff with a big 3/4 ounce tungsten weight, easing the Carolina rig through there. Hell, put a brush hog on there. The spots hate that thing.
Spots do eat brush hogs.
You'll pick up you'll catch a bunch of fish, and you'll learn a ton about your lake.
Gotcha.
You don't have forward facing.
Gotcha. Is this still live? Yes, Eric, it is still live. For a few more minutes, we are still live. Lipsticker, bass like to set right against something in low visibility conditions, dirty water, and low light conditions. So you're still targeting structures. So that might explain why you're not ripping it across the top. The top. All right. So you both said drag. You both said drag something slow. Give me an option number 2 for somebody that does not have live scope. Give me a reaction style bait for somebody that doesn't have live scope.
A jerkbait.
You've been waiting to say that forever, ain't you? Jerkbait, a rock crawler. So we got to
crankbait.
Throwing a crankbait.
I'd say a glide bait.
And a glide bait.
Because you can use man optics with the old glide bait. You sit there and you sight fish them by burning down the bank on 10 and looking for wolfbacks, or if you're throwing it down a laydown and you see that fish come out and react to it, like clutch darter, you got all kinds of other glide baits you can use and throw. But I mean, that was the original live scope, right? Like, you're watching that fish react to that bait. You're watching how he interacts with it, and you can throw it in the places you're going to throw a spinnerbait and a crankbait but you're just targeting that bigger bite.
I got you. So FNG in the middle of the Caribbean. That's right. You guys are on a cruise. So Eric, I love you and your wife, but I'm gonna tell you, if I'm sitting on a ship right now in the middle of the Caribbean, I ain't watching me, baby. There's a lot to do on a cruise ship. So, but I appreciate it. I think a lot of you guys. So be safe and have fun. Don't bring back no diseases or nothing. I'm just kidding. Mason Grossbauer. We live by Man Optics.
Mason's the man. He's cool. Cool dude.
Tell me a little bit about Mason. Who is Mason?
Oh, he can run a camera. He can catch a bass. He can do about a lot of cool stuff.
Okay, so he's in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
I got you. We live by Man Optics. So that's I'm sure Randy Blockett would appreciate that comment. We live by Man Optics. So did you see his latest video?
No, I don't.
I know you don't watch him, but
I don't subscribe to that.
He was raising Cain about fishery biologists not knowing what in the hell they're doing. That his 40 years of bass tournament experience in fishing are more qualified than a guy that went to school and does it for a living. When somebody says a comment like that, and you know a lot of great anglers, and I'm sure there's some anglers out there that for sure they know lakes. But when you hear somebody say that, what comes to your mind?
I don't have any words for that.
I can tell by your lack of reaction.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? You gonna give the bobblehead like that?
No, I mean, that's just idiotic almost.
Listen, I'm just curious what you guys think, because I watched that video kind of like, all right, he's got to have a point here, and basically the point I got out of it.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have to have a point to get clicks. He can write whatever he wants in that title and that thumbnail, and he can get clicks, and he doesn't have to have a point. The thing is he's a shock jockey, and he's not bringing value anymore. He's lost his brand. His original brand was bring value to teach back. But sorry, I don't know.
Not when his 40 years sucked at so bad he has to use drama to get followers.
Yeah,
I get that.
Shock jockey.
I mean, I get that. Pull up Matty O, because he's always has. In the state of Georgia, I'd agree that most fishery biologists don't know what they're doing. To them, stripers are native and should be stocked by the millions in our reservoirs. Now, that is an argument.
Yep.
That is an argument. How much of that is dictated, though, by the dollar? And the reason I say that is that to them, they see dollar signs on stripers. Because, I get it. I don't know what it does to the biology or the ecosystem of a lake, but how much of that is driven by the dollar bill?
I mean, look at the value of the fishing community in Georgia versus a place like Texas, Florida, California. Like, that dollar sign is so much different in Georgia than it is in
that is true. That's true.
But also you have the right climate for bass, right? Texas, Florida, like things like that. You have the warmest growing seasons. You have that opportunity. But you do in Georgia. We've got the best spotted bass lake in the country. Guys from Southern California say that we have the best spotted bass lake in the country, being Lake Lanier. And how are we taking care of that fishery? How are we giving back? Are we stocking? Like, what is all this striper and all this stuff? Like, it is one of the healthiest fisheries in the country. But is that because of DNR, or is that luck, or what's going on? What are we doing to preserve that? Because Lake Lanier is getting more and more pressured every single year. What are we doing to keep making sure that it is one of the healthiest fisheries, the best spotted bass lake? Like, what are we doing? What are they doing? Because we don't know. Texas Parks and Wildlife will tell you what they're doing to make their ShareLunker program better, but what's Georgia DNR saying?
I had that conversation with a guy actually today in the shop, and I said, really the only solution is to actually do a deep dive and see where the dollars are going and which way the dollars are being directed and why. And so maybe that's something we might do, a little long-term project. Mad as hell on them stripers, says Paul. Lipsticker. I wish Georgia would follow suit of Texas. I agree the stripes get too much love and bass don't get enough.
Yep.
And no, I'm not Babe Winkleman. I was the Bush guy at the start of the show. I've since transformed back over into Danny. So, but now Texas, Alabama, I would say to a point, Florida, it's a lot of their economy is driven by tourism.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia, our tourism seems to be driven more by like I don't know,
In Atlanta and the beach.
Atlanta and Savannah and Tybee
Yeah.
Island and all that.
Mhm.
And the mountains.
The mountains, and that's your,
Yeah.
your trout, and we do stock for trout, and delayed harvest season starts here November 1st. Georgia cares more about wake boaters and fishermen.
I doubt that.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that one. It's got to have a dollar bill behind it, some way, somehow. The dollar bill, whichever way we take things, it has to be. The dollar bill is going to drive it somehow, some way. I don't know. So what Paul said? California has a hellacious striper fishing too.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and it is. Lake Lanier is big enough though where stripers and spots can coexist and bass can coexist. You get on smaller lakes like Carter's, Tennessee is the real model. Feds support striper stocking. Well, Matty O in the comments, maybe can you explain why? Or maybe that's something even off camera. I'd like to understand why the feds support it over bass. That's an interesting comment right there. I don't know the answer to that. But I do know that for the most part, I don't want to insult a fishery biologist that knows more about the biology of a lake than I know, because I'm not educated on that. And that's kind of the thing. Like, I've been fishing since I was 3. So I can say I've, 49 years experience. I don't know more than a fishery biologist. Just don't. But Randy did. Randy did. Blockett does, he says, according to that. So anyway, that's that. So we're about an hour and 43 minutes in. Let's kind of wrap up the fall fishing. Let's end talking about, why we came here tonight. I saw a long-term weather forecast for the next month in Georgia. And according to the couple I've seen, we're not going to get any really cold weather until mid-November at the earliest. We might have a cooler morning, but not a colder morning. How is that going to affect the fishing if we stay in the 70s, lows at night in the 50s? Does that change the way you look over the next couple of months as to what you're doing, or the next couple of weeks? Either one of you guys.
Not for me, not really. I mean, I'm just looking at the water temperatures. Until those water temperatures really start dropping, like I said, to get on there around 60 or a little bit below, I'm gonna probably keep doing what I'm doing.
Just stay the same, stay the course.
Yeah, and then like I said, as we start getting those good, it's 29, 30 in the morning. That water temperature really takes a dive, and I'll switch up a little bit. But I mean, I'm still catching a bunch of fish, doing whatever I'm doing, and like he said, it's gonna just drag out that turnover.
I didn't even consider the turnover.
Yeah.
What about you, Alex? Kayak guy. How's the kayak guy approach it the fall when it's going to kind of stay early fall?
I try to go shallow. Try to find like bank runners and stuff because I don't have live scope right now. So I just try to hit spots where I've already caught them before.
Just stay consistent with what you're doing, Pat.
Mm-hmm.
You can catch fish right now from 1 foot to 50 foot. That's for sure. I know them high school boys that were bringing them in 20-plus pound bags. I heard through the grapevine those were deep fish.
They look like deep fish in those pictures. That's for sure.
They were deep. They were deep. Just say that. And I don't know exactly what part of the lake they were caught on, but they were caught deep. So, fall is a junk fisherman's dream, says Farmer. He must have already got the kids to bed now, and he's able to come out and play right there. So it is for sure. So any other points to hit on it, guys? I mean, I think we pretty much. Now I got to learn how to fizz a fish.
I had to fizz one on Saturday. I had to fizz a smallmouth that I caught in 15 foot.
Really?
Book you a trip with Kevin, Kai.
Huh?
I told him to book a trip with Kevin.
Kevin and I had to fizz some fish. Didn't expect to have to. Now, do you fizz through the side or through the mouth?
To the side. Most of the time, unless it's just that come volleyballed up in their throat. But like most of the time, you just go 4 scales back from the pectoral fin. And if you lay it down flat, stick the needle into the side under the fin, pop her straight up vertically, go down into the air bladder, put her in your live well sideways. You'll see the bubbles come up, pull her out. She's good to go.
I do it through the mouth. It's just I haven't tried it through the side yet. I need to try it.
It's easier than you think. Watch a video. Barb Elliott, that's your girl. She's from Bass.
Barbell. Yeah, she does videos for
Good.
she's good.
Yeah.
You through the side or the mouth? Both? Just depends.
Yeah.
Does it make a difference whether it's a spot or a largemouth? Just depends on your mood or what?
Yeah. Well, it just depends on what's going on. If I can see it, I'll be sure. Through the mouth, but if not,
I got that. Joey Metcalf. Once they start hitting a rock crawler, I rarely throw anything else.
That is a fun bite. Change out your hooks. Big thing on a rock crawler. Because I've been known to break some on some fish because I'm too lazy to change out your hooks.
After you've thrown it.
I was mainly just saying that to myself because I don't change out the hooks enough and I break off a lot of fish.
Now you said after you've used it a while because they're pretty good hooks coming out, right?
Yeah, no, they're great out of the package. But the thing is I'll burn that thing through the rock so much that like I'll dull them down. So
makes sense.
Yeah, it ain't bad out of the package. It's just when I'm throwing it and I'm throwing it hard, I'm grinding that bill down and I'm grinding the hooks down. So change out your hooks, especially if you're fishing a tournament or things like that. Like you want to make sure that you have the best hooks, and you have to have a good rod. You have to have a good rod to throw a crankbait on. That's when a lot of I would throw it on any old medium action rod or whatever. And then when I finally got like a good cranking rod with an S-class construction, you can actually feel it, but it helps compensate. Cause like, as soon as I feel that bite on a lot of different things, like if I'm flipping a jig down the bank and I'm getting jig bites, and then all of a sudden I flip throwing a crankbait, I'm going to swing and miss on a crankbait fish if you don't have the right rod to allow it to load up the way it needs to. So like that's another big thing is having the right rod. I like a Alpha Angler Rebound or something like that, but like having that right type of glass makes a big difference on a crankbait.
I got you, Nate. I'm going to get to your question. Keep Nate's up, but Farmer says when the turnover gets hard and heavy, run to the back of creeks with flowing water and throw a small crankbait or a small spinnerbait and hold on right there. So yes, but definitely the big thing with that is clear water. Joey, I run big game mono on my crank rod. It works. What do you change them to, Clint? When you change your hooks, you go back with the Gamakatsu
I like
style
their owner STX 30s. No,
36.
It's not an ST36. It's they're like it's a blue and red packaging. I bought $100 worth of them at Hammond's this weekend. But it's like a crankbait hook, so your bottom two treblers are kind of flush with the crankbait. I can't remember the name or size of them right now. But
all right, so JP Vern, isn't a jerkbait good during the eve? Let's see. Fall weather and a turnover. Mm-hmm. Apparently to some of these guys it is because they've talked about throwing jerk baits all night for sure. And Tony, Dave, what falcon rod do you like for cranking the rock crawler?
7 foot, 7.2, medium heavy, so it'd be a LFC 5-7 or 7.2. But I'm throwing mono.
Throwing mono.
I throw that Suffix Pro Mix.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. It is cheap. It's like $10. But I threw it all summer up there at Gunnersville grinding this. I hadn't broke a fish off yet.
Really?
Yeah, it's really good line. Been throwing it for almost 20 years. And,
gotcha.
It's hardly ever breaks.
Hey JP, don't worry about missing the first half of the show, baby. We get you. We understand life happens. No big deal. We appreciate you joining us no matter what time. St. Croix Legend glass rod is my go-to cranking rod. So
that's a good one.
Definitely. So all right, guys. So hey, listen. So we're gonna kind of wind it down for the night. Now listen. Really, I think what we've established is whatever way you like to fish during the fall, you can do it. If you like going deep, you can go deep. If you like dragging, you can drag. So the biggest thing is just get out there and fish. So go do it. Get out there on the water. Now, if you got a chance, Toys for Tots over there on Allatoona this weekend, you can pre-register the morning of. So get out there and go fish that for a good cause. Make sure you bring toys because that's what it's all about. And again, if you want to register for the one on Lake Lanier on December 7th, Buford Dam Bait and Tackle, or here at Fish North Georgia, we'll get you signed up. And also Thursday night, okay, it's Halloween, so we will not have a live well this coming up Thursday, but we do have a special presentation for you at Fish North Georgia. It's about a 35 to 40-minute program. If you want to see me, if you're into trout fishing or you just want to laugh at somebody fishing, I did a challenge, 5 delayed harvest streams in 5 days with a goal of catching 3 fish. Watch me go take on this little challenge. It's going to be entertaining, but if you're in it for this river runs through it, beauty casting and everything, it's not going to be for you. But that we're going to air that Thursday night instead of a live well. If you take your kids out, have fun, make sure they stay safe, and just enjoy the holiday. And again, this weekend, if you're on the water, I always say it on Thursday nights, number one rule, be safe. Be safe out there on the water. And let me read that today real quick. Just in case nobody knew it, we lost the great Mickey Bruce today. A big glass up to him. Rest in peace. Well, I'll be doggone. I did not know that. Appreciate you letting us know that. So, absolutely. Big glass up to Mickey Bruce today. So, guys, with that, we're going to call it a night. I appreciate Joe Dirt, Darth Vader, and Billy Ray, whatever he is, for joining us tonight. Billy Ray Cletus. Billy Ray Cletus for joining us tonight. Guys, we had a lot of fun. Hey, we always appreciate doing you guys joining us on these shows. It's what makes it fun. And I just love talking with you guys each and every week. So we appreciate you. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumb up. You don't realize how much that helps us. Like and subscribe. Click that notification bell. And we'll see you next Tuesday after the holiday. You guys be good. We'll see you.